welcome everyone. We are back to the live stream tonight. We are working on the electrical wiring in the floor. So because we're doing the thin walls and we don't have a A-frame structure like the Adventure Wagon build, we need to be creative where we're putting the cables so that they fit in the van nicely. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to walk you through how I'm laying out the wires, what it looks like. We'll go to the drawing pad and I'll actually draw out how the wires are running. So you can, play this video back, scrub through it back and forth and find out if that's something you want to do, if it's helpful. So I'm going to do it, and then, I thought doing this live stream would be a good way to open up some questions for van electrical circuitry, because sometimes that can get it can be scary, wiring up your van wrong. Even though it's 12 volts, which is not the end of the world, if you do it incorrectly with the high amp wires, that is something that could be dangerous. So if you have any questions tonight, put them in the chat. Be happy to answer them. We're going to try to stay on the topic of electrical circuits. We're going to do 12 volt and we're going to do 110 or 120, the household power too. But inside the van here, what we're doing is I'm getting ready to do the final gluing of the floor panels, or the subfloor. And I did this on the Adventure Wagon build, and I really like putting the cables in the floor. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of against that. But for me, it just makes a lot of sense, because you can cut out the little troughs, or little wire highways I call them, in the floor, keep everything nice and neat. It's marine wiring, so it's double jacketed. If you get everything fused properly, there's no problem whatsoever with doing this method. One thing you might want to do is plan ahead. As I did in the top of the van, I actually installed an additional circuit. So I'm going to start at the top here, and then I'll come down and I'll just explain what is going in the van, kind of top to bottom. So I'll walk in the van in here in just a second. But up top, we're going to have 7 LED lights, 4 in the back on one bank, and then we have 3 with those pieces of tape that haven't been drilled yet in the front. We have a 48 volt rooftop AC unit. That's a Pneumatic Cooling X2, 48 volt. Then we have the traditional Max fan. This is the Deluxe, so 7500K is the model number for it. It's 12 volts. And then if we come on down, I'm going to hop in the van really quick and just point out what's happening above the sliding door. All right. So in a lot of vans, what you might want to do, let me move this light so I can actually see my video screen. There we go. So in most van builds, what you'll see is this section has some communication, whether it's a electrical screen or light switches or whatnot. My original plan was to do that, but I got to pulling the communication wire from the Webasto heater, and I'm so back and forth between this. I'll decide tonight. I'll make a final decision while I'm doing this video. But this blob right here, I'd have to do some more cutting into it, and then this panel right here, there's not a good way to really cover the cables coming in here. I can't run them above this because the ceiling's so tight. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to have both the EcoFlow communication screen and the heater over here on the fridge microwave stack that's going on this direction. Also, because the EcoFlow cable is although it's 20 feet, going from here up, I think will be what we're going to do. Again, I'm going to decide that later. But just like I'm doing now, you'll want to consider this the same thing. This is something that you think you can, you're going to be able to run the wire, there's going to be enough wire, and even if you get the wire there, can you hide the wire behind whatever panels you're working with? Yeah, so these two things are what I'm deciding tonight. Now, what is up here? What have I pre-wired? I've pre-wired a reverse camera from the back of the van all the way up through here into the Wolfbox system, which is a dash cam system. So that cable's up here. Up here we have the, let's see here. So we got our Webasto. We have, and what I do is I have a label maker and I label everything. Even though I've done this before, you want to label everything. So this is called the 12 volt front galley spare. So this is a spare cable for future expansion if we needed some type of 12 volt supply for something that John and Susan wanted to put up here. This is the spare. Next, we have the 12 volt rigid LED. So this is their outdoor lighting. So when they go to go outside, this is their kind of amber outdoor light. Let's see. And actually, I think I'm correcting myself now. We're going to be using this to switch the front gap. Well, let's see here. You guys are seeing my thought process live here. It's always fun. By the way, if you guys see me always going up here and looking at cables, this is, up here is where I keep cables going to the top of the kitchen galley. Let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, max fan, and 4. Oh, that's right. Okay. Back here we have wire number 4. So this is the rear LED reading light. The 12 volt spare, we are using that to connect to our lights up here. So we repurposed that circuit. That's what that is. So that's 2. 3 is the front LED, and then the 12 volt rigid light. Okay, that's the 4. So I've got 4 12 volt wires coming up here. All 12 volt wires for this current power supply are 18 gauge wires. So each one of these is 18 gauge, including the rigid. It does not pull enough amps to be any higher than that. So 18 gauge. Up here, you guys can't see it, but supplying the max fan. I think we actually used a 12 gauge for that. So that one is, let's see, we can just look right here. Yeah, 12 gauge for that. So 5 wires are coming across the ceiling to supply power to all these roof underneath the ceiling systems. We're not counting the power supply for the 48 volt Dometic because it's already been routed through the wall and coming straight down. Now, when we come over here to the floor, one thing we're doing is we're running the 12 volt supply for the Webasto. We're coming under here. This is where the floor step will be. And so there's a channel that this foam overhangs a little bit to create a channel within the step. And then underneath here, there's this pocket, and it's a good place to hide/store cables if you're running them over here. And then eventually, these cables, when the floor is finished, will come up through here. And inside the kitchen galley, our 2 spares for the Webasto will be bolted to the side of the kitchen galley under here where the gray water tank is, just in case you need to replace these fuses. These fuses are not underneath the swivel seat, which would be terribly hard to get to if those ever blew. So this I just picked up. That's our Bluetooth controller for the Smart Temp control for the Webasto 2000. So we got these coming through. Let me grab my phone, make sure you guys don't have any questions here so far. All right. I guess I could, let me go back down. So I'm down, moving down. We're going to zoom in here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, so this big snake of a wire. This is bringing most of our, the other half of all of our electrical from the EcoFlow system. We're coming all the way down here. So what I'm going to use as an example as we're talking about this is the distribution box. So I'm going to hop on the big camera just real quick. Here we go. So this is the distribution box. So we've got these little stickers. I put them in here just so I can, remember where I want things to go. I print them out and then I peel them off as I organize everything. I'm just going to take them off here for a second. But for example, I want this one to be the microwave. So over here you have household power. So this is a breaker just like you'd have in your house, just like a normal breaker. They're just a little bit smaller. And so in this window, you have your line, neutral, and ground. So your 3 wires for your 110 or 120 volt AC coming in. From here over, you're going to have your DC circuits. You have 12 and then 6 you can control with a remote control. So you can wirelessly turn these on and off. And then up here you have all these circuits, all these fuses up here to appropriately fuse your circuit. These are just placeholders. You can use them if you do have a 20 amp, but if you have a 5 amp circuit, that's pretty obvious. You would replace these with the appropriate fuse. And then to supply this little knockout window, I'm actually going to knock out these from the back. And then this is going to sit back here on the left behind the wheel well. So all these wires from here to the right, all these wires are, that's what I'm talking about right now. So we'll get back in the van. So I'll just use this as a reference. And also, John and Susan, if you guys are watching, this will be a good little reference for you in the future if you ever have troubleshooting. You can kind of understand how everything's coming through the box. And I'm just organizing these wires tonight. That's pretty much all I'm doing, because first thing tomorrow I'm going to glue the floor in, and then these will be sealed, because if you watched the live stream yesterday, I need these wires in so I can put the wood panel that's upholstered in, and then I can bolt it EcoFlow to it. But I got to have the floor glued in first before I can put the panel on the wall. So there's kind of an order of operations there. So here we have a bunch of wires. We actually have 6 wires, and we're going to be adding some more, so you guys can come along as I add some more wires. These are going to go into the floor, and so let's talk about what we have right here. So actually, I'm going to untape this. So I made a little bit of a change when I was planning this out. So let's see what we have. Get this wire out of my face. Okay. Let's talk about our big chunky wires first. These are our 12-3 wires. So when I say 12-3, that does not mean 12 volts. 12-3 means 12 gauge wire, 3 wire, which is going to be our 120 volt household power right here. Now when you hear 110 and 120, it's the same. 110 and 120 is the same. there's a range. If you ever look on the back of your microwave or device, there's like a little dash, and there's a range of voltage that it can accept. So some people say 120, some will say 110. It just depends on where you're at and what's providing power. So this 3-wire is the let's see here. This is 110 volt outside. So 110 volt outside. This is their outside outside outlet for the van. So when they open their door, they turn their inverter on. This wire will come through here underneath the floor, and this will actually be plugged into a electrical box that has a plug on it. Just a normal household plug. So they want to do some induction cooking outside, they can do that. The next one, that's a 12-3 as well. This one is inside. So this is an inside wire. So this wire will actually come through here. And this one, when the floor's in and finished, we have a nice round hole right here, right on the wall of the kitchen galley. This one will come up through the kitchen galley and allow access to that 110 power. Then as we come back over here, this next one is hot water. So we're actually going to need 2 wires for the hot water. The main wire is coming through the floor, and again, it's also going to come up through the bottom of the kitchen galley. And so this one is going to be our switchable circuit for the hot water heater. So this will go into the box, provides the power, and then a secondary 12-3 cable will go back with a plug-in on it, and that will actually turn the hot water heater on and off by the flip of a switch. The switch box will be underneath the kitchen galley, so when you want to have hot water, you can just flip the switch, it'll start heating it up. So very simple. All right, now that leaves us with, we have 3 wires here, and we're going to 12 volt power. Now these 12 volt supply these are only, these are 14 gauge on this one, and this is our 12 volt water pump and our tank LED. So what I do is I cut a little window out on their water tank box. We put a blue LED in there, and when we have power go to the pump to turn the water pump on, it powers the blue LED. So anytime the water pump is on, the blue LED is on. If you're inside the van, you can't see it, but if you go to check the water level, turn the pump on, and you'll backlight the water tank. It's kind of a cool little hack on that for that. Now, the reason that this is so long is, again, we need to have 1 wire that provides the power. And so this wire is providing power to the switch that'll be located on top of the sink. So it'll be a waterproof switch with a blue light. You push it, water's on, you can wash your hands, do all that good stuff. But it turns the water pump on. So you need supply power, and then you'll need an identical gauge wire going from here all the way back to the water tank itself. So this is just the supply for that switch in the kitchen galley. Next, you're going to have, this says 12 volt lights front, and then this one is 12 volt lights rear. So I got John and Susan 2 dimmable switches, and so what this is going to do is this will switch those circuits. So what we'll do, I'll show you guys on the computer here in a second, but this is just controlling the switch. So this gets a little confusing, so kind of go with me on this. these two wires are, they're technically like one, the black and the red is almost like two red wires, because all we're doing is we're using these two wires to modulate the dimmer switch, or the off and on. So this is just a switch, and this is just a switch. So you have basically power coming in and then power going through, if that makes sense. Because what I'm going to do is, instead of switching the circuit here, going and doing 4 wires, you can lower the amount of wire you use, because you switch the circuit here, and then what we'll do is we'll go back, we'll cut the wire, we'll provide power to one leg of the wire, and then the other leg of the wire will actually Wago connect into our lighting circuits that go into the box. I know that's complicated, but I will make a really simple explanation here in just a second when I hop on the computer. So these two come into here. Okay, and so we'll clean all these wires up. We'll put a nice wrap around them. We'll put them inside the kitchen galley, but these are all our switchable circuits. We can turn our rear lights on, our front lights on. But then with this EcoFlow system, we get to simplify a lot of things. So you see how many wires we have? So let's go back to my notes, because I think I'm forgetting. That's why we have notes, right? Let's see here. Okay, so I promised you guys I need to do, let's see, dimmer. Okay, I can make sure I answered that. Dimmer. Dimmer switch, gosh, I can't write tonight. Dimmer switch control. How to. Okay, let's see what this, okay, so Keel asked, who manufactures the distribution box? Is that Blue Sea Systems? Okay, this distribution box is from EcoFlow. So it is part of their Independence kit, which is the 5 kilowatt hour kit. I will pull up an example. It's not something that you can buy. Actually, I don't know if you can. It'd be cool if you could buy it independently. I mean, that'd actually be kind of smart. I like the box. Let's see here, EcoFlow Independence kit. And we got the 5 kilowatt hour. So this is the kit right here. So you get this big unit. That is the main unit. This is the switchable unit. I'll show you right here. So this is the brains of the whole thing. This is what alternator inputs, solar panel, battery, 48 volt rooftop AC, and then power for the unit. So this is your main. This also contains your inverter. Let's see. Let's see, that's EcoFlow. Distribution panel. Okay, this is what it is. Yeah, it looks like you can actually buy it by itself. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it just manages your circuits. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, Kill, let me know if that answered your question. I'm happy to go in more detail if I didn't. Okay, let's move my face over here somewhere. So this is the floor of the Ford Transit. Now, I need to add a couple more circuits here that I did not add. So what I need to add is this 12 volt heater supply power. So I need to run a cable for that. I need to run the communication cable for the EcoFlow, a 110 return hot water cable. Then this one is the this one's not that important because I'm only going to glue the middle panel in first, and then I'll finish the rest of this wiring tomorrow. We get the 12 volt reading light supply for the driver's side because I didn't do that yesterday. And then floor modifications. Yeah, we already talked about these two. So let me try to answer this question right here really quick. So this dimmer switch. So basically what we have is we've got a wire going to the switch itself. So let's just say that this is the light switch for this is the dimmer. That's the dimmer switch. So you have a negative and you have a positive cable coming to it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to connect one to one side of the dimmer and then one to the other side of the dimmer. This cable is going to go back to that distribution box. Okay, that's that distribution box that I showed you guys. Let's see. Uh-oh. Okay, distribution box. So what we're going to do is, so you see these two cables run to the back of the van. So one is the negative and one is the positive. All right. So if we connected it like this, that would be really bad because we'd short circuit it if we turned the switch on. So what we have to do is we got to break the circuit here. And then, so think of this right here. Think of this as this is the power coming into the system. And then this is the switch. So we got to break it because what it's controlling is it's controlling one of our puck lights in the ceiling. Okay, so that's our puck lights. Now, if we took our puck lights and we just connected them to these wires, the light would turn on because we're getting power. But we don't want to do that. We want to make this light dim. So what we want to do is our grounds connecting together. So we can connect all of them together. That's not a problem. So we'll connect all of them together, just like that. So the red is where that's where it allows us to dim the circuit. So what we're going to do is we need to ground the wire right there, but then this black wire turns into our dimming wire. So I'm trying to figure out how do I explain this to you. So I'm going to make it a dashed one. Okay, so that wire turns into hooks to the positive side, and then our red wires connect just like normal. So that's just normal. And so that's how that works. So you can see if we wanted to do this without doing this, we'd have to run 2 more wires, if that makes sense. Anyway, try not to get in the weeds. Let me know if that made sense to you guys. Yeah, so that's how a dimming circuit works. I'm gonna see if I think I got the switch right over here. So this is the switch I got John and Susan, and it's pretty beefy. I like it. So let's see here. So this is the one I got them. So I like it because it's got a simple on and off, light on and off. But then over here you can control how much it dims, and if there's a level you want it set, you can just leave it there and then turn it off and on. It does have it does tell you how to turn it into a 3-way switch. Let's see. The dim switch sets the live. Yep. So not to confuse you guys, but this switch, it's possible with that it has 3 wires. So this, for my application, it's possible. I don't know why it's not focusing. Technology. There we go. So this for this, I actually might not use this wire because, and I don't mean to confuse you guys, but the white one right here, this one goes to the light. So the white one, in this case, is the black wire with the dashes. And then the red wire is the the red wire is the 12-volt power. So we would just cap off this black wire. So we wouldn't use this. So that's why you can take my example with this. So this is, my example is a 2-wire switch. So that's how this gets confusing. Because you see, well, Nick, you told me I just only need 2 wires. Well, you would just use these 2. So not the ground. Because the light is already grounded. The light's already grounded right here. All right, what is next? What is next on the list? Shall we go back in the van and get to work? Yes. All right, so any question you guys have, keep it going. I love answering the questions. So we're going to, I'm going to start cutting some cable and putting them back. Let's see, let me zoom out the camera. Yep, I'm starting cutting some cable. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull my my 12 3-wire. Now, unfortunately, this to get the right stuff, because I only put the right stuff in my vans. There's stuff you can get off of Amazon, but you cannot you can't verify that it's UL listed. So you see that? UL listed. So this is a full spool. This is anchor wire, and it's a 12-3 100-foot thing of wire. It is very expensive, but it's the right one to use. You can buy it from West Marine. So I'm not sure if anybody's on the East Coast. Well, I think West Marine's everywhere. Maybe that's why it's called West Marine. Okay. So West Marine, we're looking for 12-3. No, 12-3. I guess I could put wire. 12-3 wire. So they have it by the foot. So 12-3, 100-foot spool. I mean, it's 177 bucks. I know that may sound expensive, but that's pretty good for a good quality 12 gauge power cable for your van. Let's see, and actually, that wire that I was about to cut like this, that's not what I wanted to show you. So let me show you, say Lowe's, extension, cable, lighted. Okay, so for my hot water heaters, this is what I do. Let me see if I can find this for you. This is a good hack for a DIYer if you're new to electrical. I know this sounds very strange, but they make these utility cords that are lighted, and you can get them in, I think, 14 gauge. Let's see if I can get them in 12 gauge. So the lower the number, the thicker the wire. Just remember that. That's a 14, that's a 12-3, 12-3. Yeah, so I get this 25 footer, but I think this is really great in a van. So these cables have a lit plug-in on the end of them. And what I think is a good practice for troubleshooting is this is what I plug into my heaters. So I'll splice this, and this wire will go into the electrical box for the switch. And so say John and Susan are in their van and for some reason the hot water is not getting power. This is just an example purposes. Extremely rare this would ever occur, but if it did, you have a lit end of the power cable. So you know if the cable is getting power or not, or if it's the water heater that's messed up and shot. So you don't have to keep turning the breaker on and off and have no clue without using an electrical meter if it's shorted or not. So I used one of this, I plug it into the household plug on the hot water heater, and then that just, you can see this lighted circuit. So I do this for the hot water heater, and I'll also do the same thing for the microwave. And that way, before you plug in the microwave, you know the plug has power coming out of it without using any type of testing device. So that's kind of a little hack that I do. Okay, so if we go back to this, let's see here. So 12-volt heater supply. So I'm going to be using, I already pulled the roll out. Let's see where it went. So we're going to be using so I get all this stuff from West Marine. So this is what we're going to be using for the heater, which is a 12-2. Now I know that's really confusing. The 12 still means the same. Doesn't matter if it's 110 volt or 120 volt or 12 volt. 12, the first number is the gauge of the wire inside. And then the slash, the number after it, is how many wires are in the wire. Yeah, sometimes that is confusing. All right, so this one, so from here, what I need to measure is, I'm just going to lay the wire down because we got to go from the EcoFlow to underneath our kitchen galley. And then I got a couple of videos, just quick talk over videos of the work that I did earlier today, which was modifying the floor. And so I recorded those, but I'm just going to briefly go through those because they explain how we're going to cover the floor up to hide these wires. And you don't have to do this, but if you can get the kinks out of the wire before you put it in the floor, it'll keep it from knotting up too bad. Okay. So remember, our heater is coming underneath our step, and then this will be coming through. It's going to be coming in here. And so here I have a general size that I've given myself so that I have a little bit of slack to work with if I want to change these cables up. All right, there's my cable. Now, good practice. We're going to label maker out. We're going to do heater supply. All right, so that's our heater supply. Then we'll print another one. Okay, I'm just going to kink the wire. So what I've been doing is coming to the wall where my outlet box is, and then I come out about 2 feet. And that's been giving me my place where I want to actually cut my wire to size. Okay, so this is our last one we had for the Webasto. And then we'll go over the EcoFlow stuff here. It's a little bit of a rat's nest, but it's just not organized right now. But I'm gonna go over it because I probably will go ahead and install all this, and you guys won't see it tomorrow. So that's why we're going over it tonight. Okay, so now we can come over here and we can cross that off. Let's see here. The 110 return for hot water, we need to buy that one. I don't have any more. 12 volt reading light supply. We can do that one. So if you guys remember over here, this is what we had, what we did yesterday. So John and Susan have one more light that goes right here. So we're not going to use our 12 2-wire because that is too heavy. It'll do a great job, but it's a waste of money to use that. So we go down to our next wire down, and so this wire is our 16-2. This is our 16 gauge wire. Okay, and so this one we can just do a little loop over, come down, and this one's fun because we can just estimate that that's where we want this one. Okay, so this one is set. So we need to come in here and do 12 volt driver, read LED. And for this one, you don't have to do two because it's going to be plugged into the back of the light. Okay, so that's one in. All right, floor modifications for wire, dimmer switch control. Okay, so we did that. All right, floor modifications for wire. So let's move the camera. Let's get the camera into the van. because you may be having to do this in your van. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take our masking tape that is 1 inch and we're going to modify this foam. And so I didn't cut it earlier because I didn't think I'd need to run a cable across here, but the communication cable for our heater I want to go across here. I don't want to mount this Bluetooth controller. There's no good place in the kitchen galley. There's, you don't want to do it here and bump it going in. So where 99% of everyone puts it is up here. If they have like a closet, we have a fridge stack with a microwave. This is where most everyone puts it, or up there. But because of this length of this cable, it's going to be just enough to have it exactly where we want it. So that's why we're putting this in the floor. So we'll move this up here so we don't damage it when we start cutting with the razor. Let's put this stuff here. And I'm just using this tape as my guide for when I cut this. Okay. And any wire that I think I might cut, like these EcoFlow cables, I'm going to just push them out of the way. Same with this power cable. This one needs to hang out up here for a second. Okay, so I'm looking for my big razor blade. There we go. Another tool that I think you guys should definitely get are these OLFA razor blades. I use them all over the place. I mean, I've got a ton of them. What's nice is they're Japanese steel. The refill blades are, and you can actually get them at Lowe's, which is pretty awesome. But this one, you can tell, it's much bigger than your. This is a normal size razor. This one's big. And so this one's also nice because you can like for cutting foam, you can extend the blade. You can make it look like a machete. Anyway, thought that was helpful. Okay, let's cut our foam here. Now I do have a vinyl piece of lattice supporting underneath here. When I get done with their van, we'll have a trim strip that goes over this as well. That way they can, it's just a decorative strip that encloses everything. So yeah. All right, really make sure our DC to DC EcoFlow cables here, we gotta baby them. That's our charging for this system. One of our main charging things for the system. All right, so those are safe now. Now we can just keep going. Okay, once you cut foam like this, push it forward, and that's going to break it loose cleanly. Look at that. Look how clean that was. That's awesome. Okay, so now we've regained a path. Or we've gained a path so that we can run this cable down through here. So that is going to go all the way. That's going to follow the EcoFlow. It's going to go all the way over there. All right, I made it that long because of that wide, just because I think I'm also, since they give us so much of the positive cable, what I might do is, I don't suggest you do this, but probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify these fuses, and I'm going to, it's possible that I can run this, now that I've made that cut, I can run this all the way back to the EcoFlow. Now, whenever you modify a cable, you want to make sure you don't add too much, because the fuse and the length of the wire has already been predetermined to make this function properly. But if I add another 2 or 3 feet to that, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Because if I can do what I just showed you, and I can now fit 2 wires in this channel right here, and bring these back, I can wire them into the EcoFlow directly, and this wire that I wired over here, I can just use this as a spare for something. So just kind of, you have options. Okay, let's see if we got any questions. Hey, Going Do, how's your EcoFlow system doing? I think you had a question about it last time, but I'm not sure if I answered it or not. Okay, so now I'm going to go over those videos that I did earlier today on the floor system, and just to catch you up on what I did, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. All right, so let me pull up one of these. All right, let's get on the computer here. So this is what I worked on today. So I'm gonna show you 3 short videos. I'm gonna scrub through them so you're not gonna watch the whole entire thing. All right, let's see what Go and Do said. So the alternator charging is what you're, let's see. So love the EcoFlow, but the alternator charging. Okay. All right, so this is what we worked on today. So I got the sheet of Baltic birch and I took it over to the table saw, and the panel that you guys saw inside the van from yesterday, so that is the panel from this right side of the van. So if I bring you outside and we're looking at this other side. Okay, so the panel that goes on the bottom side of this wall, that's what we're talking about here in this video. So I grabbed a new piece and then I just came over here and I started cutting it down to size. I went through and I notched out the wheel well piece. Then I went through and drilled all the holes for the sides and got that all finished up. See what my computer's doing weird stuff here. Computer. There you go. Then this one. So this is the modifications that I'm making to the floor that's going to be covering the wires. And so I don't know if you can see it, but I'll draw it here on the pad. There we go. So if you're doing the flooring and your transit, you're going to have 3 sections of flooring. You'll have the first main section, and then there'll be a split back here at the back. So you have 1, 2, and 3. And then the second section is where the wire is going to be coming through. So right here is I have that access hole, and then I have some, the dots are where the foam is cut out. So this is where you'll actually cut the foam out. And there's a space under panel number 2 in a Ford Transit where this, there's a deep valley in the frame of the van. It allows you to run wires there. So that's where I run all these wires. So we have that main branch that came out, zigs along this, and this is where it connects to the EcoFlow. The hot water wire comes down here, goes this way, connects to the EcoFlow. So all that's happening under this panel. So that's the one that I'm modifying. Now, 2 things that I had to do to this panel were I had to, this part has to be cut off and then this part has to be cut off because I made it too wide. All right, so other question was, hey Nick, I want to install a cargo slide in my Sprinter van. You mentioned using, so grade 8 bolts, that's what you want to use. Do the bolts need to go through the floor all the way and bolt from underneath? Yes. So my personal opinion, what I would do is, I'll draw it for you. So let's I have a video on this. I'll try to find it really quick. But essentially, this is the bottom of your van. This is your van. These are your wheel wells in the back. And so in this section right here is typically where you're going to install your drawer slide. So let's just say, for example, this is where you're installing your drawer slide. That's where I installed mine. Technically, I was trying to put 2 in here, but I just decided to do 1. Now, here's where I bolted it. So the red dots are the bolts that I have. So I had 4 here, and then I just had 2 back here. And I did that because most of your force lifting up is going to be on this front part. You know, just kind of think like a seesaw. You're going to have the force is going to be pulling up on here, and you know, it's not really going to matter in the back. So I drilled these 6 bolts through the floor. And in orange, I'm going to show you what is underneath the van that you have to watch out for. So the fuel tank, I think the fuel tank covered the first 2. I already needed to drop the fuel tank in order to install the heater. So I'm also dropping the fuel tank on John and Susan's van to plug in the Webasto fuel tap. So I've already pre-planned to do all that on the same day. And then right here, you're going to have that spare tire. And then underneath the van, you're going to have these cross members. Now, you're probably going to have the same thing on a Sprinter. You'll have these like, they almost look like rails, like frame rails almost. So basically, you kind of have to navigate your way through all this. And the best way that I found to do it is they make a 8-inch, this might be a 16-inch. So I've got 2 specialty drill bits that I bought. And one is so that I can go and actually, and find where the holes are in the van. So I can take this long one, and it's very strong. And I can take this, I can probe through the floor and see if it's coming out where I want it to. And then when I'm ready to, I use a 5/16 version of that bit. So this, you can see how long this is. And so I do this, and that is what I use a 5/16 bit to put them, to drill them. Let's see here. Let me answer this one question for you really quick. Okay. So if you go on the computer, you can find something here. It's called, it's a bolt, the bolt markings. So it tells you what grade each of the bolts are. So these little lines that you see on top of bolts, that is actually a grading scale. So a grade 8 will have this star pattern. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 of them. And then you get into the higher class. And I think grade 8 is what's also known as automotive grade. So don't quote me on that. But that's a good way to think about it. Yeah, so once you make it through this maze of how you're finding out where to drill your holes, you don't need to bolt down everything, but definitely the front and the front needs to have more bolts than the back does. The back is more just for like locating your pull-out drawer slide. Yep, you're welcome. I'm gonna really quick see if I can find this video. Drawer.
At Amica.
All right, so this is the video you want to watch. This is, the name of this video is Heavy Duty Drawer Slides in a Camper Van Conversion. So I'm gonna, let's see. Okay, so go to, watch that video. So that video is going to go over what I'm talking about, the 2 bolts in the front, 2 in the back. Sorry, I'm trying to see. Anyway, I have one that is more detailed, but I can't find it at the current moment. All right, let me get back to these videos. So modifying the floor, so I did that. Let's see, what else was on here? I think I had one more thing to look at. Okay, here you go. So this is the last video I have to show you. So this is the floor like it was earlier today. And so what I'm doing is I'm cutting out the hole to fit the wires through. And, okay, let's, so Go and Do says, I'm working on the outside upgrades. I ordered the Talon wheels from Alvans. What do you recommend for? I mean, believe it or not, the KO2, BFG KO2s are actually a pretty well-mannered tire on the road. Those are the cool off-road tires that pretty much everyone has on their van. They have a good load rating, but they're not as loud as you would think. So the BF Goodwrench KO2 tires, if you want something that's a little bit more, I think it's more comfortable, but not as aggressive, you're going to be looking at the Cooper. Let me see if I can find them. We're looking at the Cooper AT3. Let's see here. The Cooper AT3-4S. Okay, these are the two tires that I would recommend. So this is the one that everyone loves. The KO2 looks really cool. Comes in tons of sizes to fit any type of wheel. This would be my number one choice. It may be, you know, depending on how much noise level you want. It's not that loud, but it's not quiet, if that makes sense. But it looks awesome. It's got good highway use. This one that's a little bit more tame is the Cooper AT3-4S. So you're going to have a little bit of a, it's got a cool look to it, but it's a little bit, it's not as aggressive. So actually right here, you got these two side by side. Yeah, so it's this one, which is my favorite, and then this one would be I say just as good, but a little bit more tame as far as noise goes. that would be my recommendation. Let's see. Exit out of that video. Yeah, so I drilled that hole in the van, and then I took it out, and I went ahead and started cutting my wire trough for the wire highway, and then just going through and double checking connections. And then that got me to where we are today, or tonight. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you guys check out vanbuilderhq.com. So we've redone the website. It is refreshed, ready for you guys to check it out. So that's my brother and I, if you guys are wondering who else is in the photo. And so Jamie is the editor that curates all this stuff on the site. Does a good job at putting all these articles together. So it's pretty much my brain of van knowledge distilled in more of an organized way for you guys to, consume it in a blog post. And a lot of the shows that we go to, I have a lot of photos from there, builds from the shop. And there's just a lot of good articles to help you with just van stuff. Like what Ford Transit is the best, low, medium, high roof. And if you haven't also checked out, at the top of the page, there's something called the DIY Van Build Cheat Sheet. So there's a free cheat sheet for you guys to help you out with your DIY van conversion. It's essentially an Excel sheet with over 250 items. It's the last 3 years of all my Amazon purchases for the shop that's been organized into an Excel sheet, and it's got all the links for Amazon on it, and you guys can use it to help you out. It's got fuses, solar panels, MC4 connectors, lots of electrical stuff, some items to help you connect 80/20 if you're doing that, as well as water pumps, plumbing, PEX A, crimpers, and then tools. So some of the weird tools that I actually use in the shop are on that list as well. So definitely check that out if you haven't. Yeah, I'm just gonna paste this website into the chat. You guys hop on over there when you get some free time. And always got to mention Odyssey Custom Vans, if I can pull up the right link. So Odyssey Custom Vans, this is my professional van building business, so not the YouTube. The YouTube is separate. So you're watching Van Builder HQ, which is where I teach you to build a van and help you answer questions. Odyssey Custom Vans is when you give up and I build your van for you. I mean that in the nicest way possible. When you need some more guided help, I will build your van for you. Now, sometimes we have vans for sale. Currently, we have an adventure van for sale. We took this to the Adventure Van Expo in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it has all kinds of stuff in this van. This van's fully loaded. You can check it out. We do a little mini tour. We've got some photos on it. Since I took these photos, I've done some really cool topographical map graphics on the van. So they look really cool. I'm not sure. My Instagram has that information. So you know what? I'm not logged in on here, but let's see if we can pull that up. Oh, Keel, thank you so much. Thank you for you were very welcome. Yep, love helping you guys out on the van stuff. All right, I think I actually might be able to access a couple photos on here. Oh, there's another company, but they are not. They do Airstreams and stuff like that. But Odyssey Custom Vans. Instagram. Where is the Instagram? I haven't really used it that much, so I don't think it's actually populated yet. See customs. Where's Instagram? Hold on, I'm trying to find this. Okay, that is profile. All right, this is on my personal account, but you guys can see this photo, I think. So it's got topo map covering the hood, which everybody likes. That's a cool thing to do. And then I did a topo with the van logo on the back. So this is the one that is for sale. And if you want to get in touch with me and do a custom build, there's a link right here. It says click here to schedule a call. You click that, calendar pops up, pick a date, pick a time, go over a little intro question over here, and it'll go on my calendar, and we'll chat on a phone call. All right, guys, about 5 minutes. I'm going to see if you guys have any more questions, and we are going to call it an end to the stream tonight. So a little bit shorter of a one. I need to, off camera, finish up tying these wires and then head out. But yeah, let's see if we have any more questions come through. These were really good questions tonight, by the way. And before you leave, make sure you are subscribed, like this video, share it, and turn on that notification bell. That is how you're going to not miss the live streams. And I probably will do a poll to see when you guys like the live streams. I've been doing them later at night, so like around the 8:30 time, because I feel that's the most. As I've been doing the live streams, that is when you guys tend to interact and ask more questions. During the day, like the lunchtime or around there, there's everybody's working, so I can understand that. But yeah, the end of the day is good because I pretty much have wrapped up what I've done earlier in the day, and I can just kind of come in and do something that I can cover in about an hour. But yeah. Questions? Let me know, guys. Do you have any questions? By the way, if you haven't checked out the Peace, Love, and Vans video, you should definitely check that out. So that was in Dade City, Florida. And it's an awesome. So we've got Troy from Nana Vans, and he's just got a super nice custom build, very detailed craftsman style build. And we hung out at this event, and him and Danny came to the SAVE Expo, which is the Southeast Adventure Vehicle Expo, and that event was awesome as well. So we got to hang out both times. So it's cool making new friends and hanging out at shows. I really enjoy that. There's actually not that many shows this year. The Chattanooga show for Adventure Van Expo is not on the calendar. I mean, it's not on their website. So I think they've dropped that location, unfortunately. So that's why I wanted to hit up Save Expo. Oh, thanks, Kill. I will see you guys in a future live stream. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Yeah, but this build's nice. So we actually hung out in their van at the Save Expo in the afternoons, just making food, hanging out, and it's a very cozy van. As you can see, a lot of nice warm wood tones. You got the brick, the mason jars. It's a cool van. It's super cool. All right, guys, 1 minute. Do we have any questions before I end the stream tonight? And also, if you have questions for future streams that you don't get to put in the chat, put it in the comments, and then I'll go through those and see if I've got a lot of comments I have to get to, so be patient on that. There's a lot of questions that have come through, so I'm working on those. But ask in the comments, and I can see those, and it might be a future video. All right, that's gonna do it. Yeah, check out this van, this video. It's called Peace Loving Vans 2024. It's on the Van Builder HQ YouTube channel. Guys, that's gonna do it for me tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Stay until the end. Again, make sure you subscribe, like it, share it, ask me questions for the future live stream. And yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. We'll see you guys in the next live stream.